drive home.
Why it's happening and how it will impact you tomorrow. It's interesting, insightful, and informative. Join us tonight and every night on the Weather Channel. In this half hour, WeatherScope, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, TravelWise gives you the latest on travel hotspots. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, the storm update. Right now on the Weather Channel, your local forecast.
This WeatherScope is sponsored by Midas Auto Systems Experts. What can we do for you today?
This is WeatherScope.
Well, big storms are beating up both the east and west coast, bringing rain and snow to some areas. Hello, I'm Bill Keneally, and welcome to WeatherScope. We'll have complete coverage of the western storm, but first, the northeast, where it's going to be a rough night and probably a rough commute tomorrow morning, including New York City. For more on that, here's Lisa Moser in the Forecast Center. Lisa?
Thanks, Bill. Well, for tonight and tomorrow morning, we're still going to be dealing with this nor'easter, and so we have some problems to keep you updated on. Let's take a look at the satellite imagery. I want to show you where our low-pressure area is still beating up along the mid-Atlantic with that easterly flow coming in from the coastal waters. We're talking lots of rain showers, wind blowing around, visibility poor, and it's a slow and very difficult drive home for a lot of folks across Jersey and the New York area. I want to also point out that the frontal boundary, the one that was associated with some of those devastating thunderstorms and tornadoes that pushed through Florida last night, now well out towards the Atlantic, so at least a good note there. And speaking of good notes, well, things have been much, much calmer today across Florida. Many Florida residents are still in shock from the devastation that was left behind from last night's tornado outbreak. Now, these are scenes from central Florida where tornadoes did tear a path of destruction across Osceola, Seminole, Orange, and Volusia counties. At last report, the Florida Division of Emergency Management reported that 38 people are dead from this destructive storm. It is looking as though many businesses and homes are unrepairable. The state's biggest tourist attraction, Disney World, University Studios, SeaWorld, however, were at least spared from the damages. Tom Moore, who was on duty yesterday following not only the storm towards the east but the one towards the west, it's not often that we have to talk about two intense storms at the same time, Tom.
No, it's a juggling act, and it's certainly a challenge for the meteorologists here because we're dealing with two very populated areas of the country. And of course, big storm coming up the East Coast tonight.
And things are going to be popping pretty soon towards the West Coast. But first, let's get the scenario towards the east. What can we expect for tonight?
Well, it's not the greatest storm of all time, and one reason why it isn't is because we don't have a tremendous amount of cold air to create a blizzard or heavy snow. We do have a weak high to the northeast up here. We have an area of low pressure right near Norfolk, Virginia, and the difference between the high and the low creates a pressure gradient, as we call it, and nature balances that by creating wind. So we do have a very stiff easterly wind. The folks in New York City know that. It's gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour at the current time with some heavy rain. And then to the west in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and later on up into New York State, we're going to look at some heavy wet snow overnight.
And a lot of wet rain blowing around as well as the snow coming down.
Yeah, we have our low here, a little calm or an eye of the storm, a little bit of a slot of dry air, which we could also see on the satellite picture in here, and then a few thunderstorms actually out here along that cold front that you talked about earlier. We have the rain moving to the north into the Connecticut Valley around Hartford, Connecticut, and into the lower Hudson Valley. And the rain really beginning to pick up now in parts of New Jersey and into the New York City area. And then back here, this is snow, and this is moving to the north and northeast.
Now, right now over the Philadelphia area, we have seen several heavy showers push through, but it does look like Washington, D.C. faring up a little bit better. The winds coming in. Any relief for the Philadelphia area overnight tonight?
Well, yes, it looks that way. One reason is because the low over Virginia will be moving east of Philadelphia, so they'll be close to the low. And once the low goes by, the winds will come back offshore. In the meantime, we'll have some rough surf in here. But once that low passes and the winds go offshore, we won't have to worry about that anymore. And with the west wind, we even have some rough, heavy surf there in the west coast of Florida. But the northeast is where we really have to worry, especially Long Island up into New England, north of the area of low pressure, which is going to move in that direction. So this whole area will have some wind gusts above 40 miles per hour up to gale force.
Okay, right now the coastal flood advisories where the area is being pretty effective, the wind is being pretty effective driving in a lot of this water and moisture inland over Long Island right now.
Yeah, especially on the North Shore, because you have this Long Island Sound and the water just funnels right in here and creates some local flooding.
Okay, so it's going to be a long night. The snow track headed towards the north overnight and into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's commute, where's it going to be the worst at?
Well, not New York City, but certainly around Albany, New York, the eastern Mohawk Valley, parts of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and into the Berkshires, I-90, and here, also parts of Vermont and New Hampshire. Again, snow is inland because we don't have enough cold air to drive the snow to the coast like we did last year.
Okay, and even where we're not seeing some of the heavy snow accumulate, we are talking about some nasty wind chills with those strong winds at gusting around 40 miles per hour.
14 wind chill in New York City right now.
Oh boy, it's cold out there. Tom Moore doing a great job. We'll be checking back with you overnight tonight, Tom. 2 systems that we're looking at, and so we go to the studio now for more details. Don't forget that you can check out the details on both systems, the east and the west, on weather.com on the internet. We'll be back.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. California getting another soaker today, and obviously that's not good news for an area where mudslides and flooding are already major problems. In Laguna Beach, California, south of Los Angeles, cleanup crews using heavy equipment to remove mud and rocks from the Pacific Coast Highway. The road has been littered with debris. In several locations from northern to southern California, we've had some problems. And in Brentwood, outside of Los Angeles, several homes have been evacuated because of a moving hillside. Also, a wall of mud in Ventura drove 10 people from an apartment complex in the area. Ventura, by the way, a little bit above Los Angeles up on the Pacific Coast Highway. So let's see what's going on now here in the western states. Low pressure coming ashore in northern California. This is going to take the dive south and east. It's going to be some heavy snow. We have winter storm warnings up for a lot of the mountain areas of Utah, Idaho, Nevada, the Tetons in Wyoming overnight tonight. It's going to get real nasty for traveling. Already reports of heavy snow out here along Interstate 80, for instance, around the Ely area. A lot of snow, just a tremendous amount has fallen this winter. The snowpack approaching 7 feet at the Blue Canyon. That's at about 5,500 feet. That's pretty amazing. Right about here, just above Sacramento. A lot of rain in Los Angeles today. That is an understatement. Los Angeles itself has had about an inch of rainfall. However, in the mountain areas on Mount Wilson up in the San Gabriels, 7 1/3 inches of rain in a 12-hour period. Watch the snow tonight. Snow levels are coming down. They'll get down to 5,000 feet. Flood watches have been extended, too, down through Orange County as well as San Diego County. That'll go until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So here comes the upper low. This is that curl here. We mentioned the surface low right here off of Arcata. Everything is going to drop south and east overnight tonight. And the conveyor belt, literally a conveyor of juicy tropical air right over Los Angeles at this hour. You can see all the heavy rainfall in town and in the higher hills. San Francisco catching a little break. Let's see what's happening now for the Bay Area. The worst of it appears to be north of town. Some of the rain fairly heavy approaching the Chico, Yuba City area. We've had tremendous snowfall at the Blue Canyon today. There's more snow in the forecast for tonight. Anywhere above 4,000 feet, I'd say, in central California and above 5,000 feet in southern California. Beware for that snowpack. And again, the rain continues all across the Los Angeles basin. Steady rain overriding all of Orange County now. It's coming down to San Diego, too. So watch out Encinitas and Escondido and eventually La Jolla and San Diego. Severe threat, a possibility. It's not so bad right now, but the prospect is there for some heavy rainfall and heavy snow in the San Gabriels and even the mountain areas out there around